So in this video, I wanted to take a quick look at this pen. This is the Ohto Fude ball rollerball pen. This is a non-refillable rollerball pen from a company called Ohto. It's called the Fude, which means brush in Japanese. So it's called it's the brush ball, I guess technically. But basically, it's a $2 to $3 non-refillable rollerball. And it's mainly notable because it has a really wide tip. It's a 1.5 millimeter rollerball, which is not too common. Usually these things are maxing out at a 1.0 millimeter. You could find ballpoints in 1.4, 1.6 millimeter, but not too many rollerball styles. This pen uses a water-based pigment ink, so it's thin. The ink is thin like a watery ink, and we'll see that in a moment, but it's fade resistant because it uses a pigment. On the design side, it's a fairly standard capped rollerball, kind of in line with something like Uniball Vision or Vision Elite. These things are all fairly similar, very simple bodies, nothing really fancy going on at one end. None of the parts come off. You see that sort of spine design with the ink in there. That's just sort of a feed mechanism. Doesn't unscrew, doesn't open. And then really wide ball, again 1.5 millimeter. It's not available in the smaller sizes, I don't believe. And then a pretty basic cap, metal clip, a little blind cap in there to keep everything nice and sealed while you're not using it. And then this little piece inserted there, which is color coordinated, which I guess is the only little design flourish. The pen comes in all sorts of different colors, both your standard blacks and greens, but also red, blue, purple, all that other stuff. And here's it next to that Vision Elite, and this is just like, I don't use a lot of these common, not too exciting capped rollerballs anymore, but this is just one I had lying around. Again, fairly similar design. The Vision Elite is a lot nicer and feels more modern in a lot of ways. We'll get right into the writing here. I put this down just to save some time on the video. So this is in the green. You can see it is not a particularly saturated green. It definitely has a sort of watery quality to it. It's the Ohto Fude 1.5 millimeter. There's some scribbling, brush ball, pigment ink, this kind of stuff I ran through before. And then there's just a comparison between that, the Ohto ink, and then a Pilot High-Tech C, and then a Zebra Sarasa, Zebra Sarasa Select 0.5 millimeter. The Pilot is a whole lot darker, and the Sarasa, you could probably see that it's not a particularly dark green, but is much more saturated. The Ohto, you could see as you write, or maybe you can't quite make it out, it's a little hard to see, but as you write, you could definitely see it drying and being absorbed. Dry time is pretty quick on this paper. This is just a standard Rhodia type paper. Dry time is quick, but you're just not getting a whole lot of saturation, and that's just because, as I understand it, because it's water-based as opposed to being ink-based. So it does go on smooth, and it goes on nicely, but you are going to see that sort of drying action, and then you just never get a whole lot of saturation, which is fine. There's a place for that, but it's not going to look great on a darker paper. So worth keeping in mind. And as for like general writing or note-taking, I think this pen is fine for that, but it definitely would not be my choice. There's just other pens out there that are a little bit better. It is smooth, no skipping, no problems. So I don't have any serious issues with it there. It's just with that light saturation, it doesn't really work for me. Some other options out there, just to throw that out there since this video is still pretty early, or not too long yet. Something like this, sorry, this is a Pilot, Pilot V7. This is the capped rollerball. It's a great note taker. Some of the similar aesthetic. It is a needle tip, and it's 0.7 millimeter, but I like writing with this one a whole lot more. Darker ink. It's not really in the same class, but it's just 0.7, but worth keeping that in mind if what you're looking for is a capped rollerball. If you're looking for a thicker rollerball, sort of like a wider diameter, something like this Zebra Sarasa. This is a Sarasa. I cracked the tip on this one from over tightening it, but this is a 1.0 millimeter. And this is a great note taker too. Very quick drying ink, really good saturation, and Zebra obviously makes great ink. Another thicker rollerball is this Pilot Juice. I know not everyone loves this one, but I actually do like it a lot. And it is available in 1.0 millimeter. That's very good for note taking, quick drying. Not as quick as the Zebra, but quick enough. And then if you really want something thick, we have this right here. This is the Zebra Tapli Clip 1.6 millimeter. And we'll just do a sample next to the Ohto Fude 1.5 millimeter. The two are really similar. Obviously, this one is a ballpoint, and the Ohto is a rollerball. So that is very different. You know, oil-based ink versus a water-based ink, but you can see it's both thick, bold lines. In fact, this 1.6 looks a fair bit bigger than that 1.5, even though, you know, a lot larger than that 0.1 millimeter would suggest. Let's see if we can get that in there. The two look fairly similar there. Not that this is hyper scientific, but going over here, the Tapli Clip seems to pop a lot more, not just from the darker ink, but I don't know, it seems thicker to me. Anyway, that is the Ohto Fude rollerball. Interesting, but not my favorite. Not a bad pickup for $2.50. Thanks. Thanks for watching.